Hello and welcome back to the Planet Hollywood Star Celeb News Daily Glue 1%er report. I'm Rosie O'Donnell, no relation, and today we have some new Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox tea. So sit down for a tea party. Earlier this week, MGK and MF were spotted at a Los Angeles bistro only accessible to Tesla Model S owners with their full bodies wrapped around each other like starfish suction to sea staff. Apparently, Megan was wearing a full gimp suit. Oh, is it hot in here? I'm playing. While MGK was wearing Rick Owens head to toe with a cowboy hat that could only be described as offensive to gay people. When brought the menus, they used monocular louses to scan them for 45 minutes before revealing that they in fact had traded their English literacy skills for an unnamed, more evil and dark language. Shortly after, they ordered seafood risotto, an item that is not on the menu. When told that the item was not on the menu, MGK proceeded to unhinge his jaw, and a blackbird timidly peeked out from inside of his gaping maw, then took flight. Megan clapped, looked directly into his eyes, and said that it had changed her for the better. The waiter agreed to get them their seafood risotto. Eyewitnesses said, not trying to be mean or anything, but they look kind of weird. Like Megan is like almost too pretty, and MGK has the bone structure of a community theater Tiny Tim. Once more, not trying to be mean, but the energy was just very dark and decompositional. Other witnesses say that there were vultures circling overhead, and every plant in a 30-yard radius wilted. This could be due to the general bad vibes or a scent that was emanating off of both of them. Our team is looking into it. This has been another segment of Public Weirdos, where we document the life of celebrities you're too busy to care about. Until next time, I'm Rosie O'Donnell, no relation. We can start the video now. Hi, before we get into this video, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, which is Casetify. Thanks, Casetify. The last time I dropped my phone, it shattered into a million pieces like a 2007 PowerPoint transition, and I had to get on all fours like Cinderella and sweep it up with an OXO dustpan. This was in front of all of my friends, who were laughing at me and pointing as I swept up the dust of my iPhone 7. I thought I would be forever trapped in that moment, my closest friends in a perfect circle around me, laughing. But then I found Casetify. Casetify cases are like so awesome, honestly. Their new cases are made of 65% recyclable and plant-based materials, and their packaging is recyclable with non-toxic ink, and the cases look so cool, like low-key, they're like awesome. This is the one that I have on my phone. Is this not funny? I think this is really funny. Their QI Tech 2.0 technology offers drop protection of up to 9.8 feet. In fact, I was in the kitchen with my roommate the other day, and they asked me if I tried dropping it, and so I was like, no, and then I tried dropping it, and it didn't break, which is good, but also I didn't have a screen protector on at the time, which Casetify also sent me because they're angels over there, and now my phone is a fortress. You can also get custom cases. Like look at this one supporting militarized canines, and this one supporting me getting paid, maybe. Also, they have microbacterial coatings on all of their cases. This kills like 99% of bacteria, and I've been sucking on this case like a rocket pop. That's not true. I have an oral fixation. I know what it's like. I have an oral fixation. It's not a phone case. Like, don't just like suck on a phone case. I don't think that's why they have it.
Hold on. Casetify got my draft of this ad read and said, can you do a drop test? It didn't break. Buy the case.
Anyways, thank you so much to Casetify for sponsoring today's video, and go to casetify.com/RoRamden to get 15% off of your order. Okay, Pastor O, take it back. Hey. To clarify, this is water, because I just shotgunned 2 of these, and I feel like if somebody lightly tapped me on the shoulder and told me that I had made an error of any kind, I would break down into tears. I'm a snowflake right now. I'm genuinely a snow. I'm like shaking. I'm goddamn. Do I look at the camera? No, I got a monitor. It's because I'm kind of big time now. I'm kind of huge time. Sorry about the big hiatus I took. I got my head stuck in a honey pot for 2 months, and my depressed friend Eeyore couldn't help me because he's a burden. That's not true. Hello, welcome back to the small hut at a Christmas tree farm where they shake your tree so hard it kills every mountain pine beetle within a 60-yard radius. I'm a 19-year-old poli-sci student in an REI jacket that ideologically opposes literacy. Celebrity obsession. Where did it start? I remember from a young age being helplessly obsessed with the personal lives of relevant celebrities like the ShamWow guy and that guy in my neighborhood who shot a cop. From the first moment I saw an airbrushed white widow mourning on a People magazine, I was entranced by the poisonous culture of celebrity, and even more so entranced by the John Deere lawnmower backfire explosion that is celebrity relationship. What's a Brangelina? schizophrenia? Can it hurt me? Will it clash with my current prescriptions? Can I make Google AdSense revenue off of it? And will it make me feel remorse for moral ambiguity deep inside? There is something strangely satisfying about projecting all of our emotional insecurities onto strangers with the guise of analysis. That's why shows like The Bachelor exist, people like empaths exist, and professions like psychotherapists exist. That's right, if you're a therapist who's devoted your life to helping people, you're a chud and a narcissist. Yeah, now who's the armchair psychologist, huh? You know, if I wasn't watching with critical lenses strapped to my face the every move of two strangers attempting to make this strange thing called love work, what else would I be doing? Sitting in the back of a Rite Aid waiting for the guy to look away so that I can steal Pokemon cards and Robitussin? Absolutely I would. Celebrity relationship obsession is the first step to an 8-step program everybody in their life should use, and yes, it's almost identical to the Eightfold Path, but it requires you to get really in the weeds about Mandy Patinkin's marriage. Perhaps the best thing about focusing on the relationships of others is that it allows you to depersonalize scandals, trauma, interpersonal problems in the same way that watching Adventure Time allows you to depersonalize the process of connecting with your inner child. Why would I focus on the faltering relationships with everybody in my life I call a friend when I could focus on the meteoric rise of Julia Fox, a woman from an alternate reality who I'm convinced could survive on a desert island for months on end with a box of crackers and a Louboutin pump? Sensationalize to distract. That's what I've always said. Those were my first words when I was born, followed by the date and time that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died and the details of the housing bubble crash of 2008. That rocked America nearly a decade later, but I knew. I always knew. I'm a prophet, a scholar, an amateur astronomer. I mean, I like to look up at the sky. What's the difference between me and NASA? I'm a liar seeking emotional tranquility, a tranquilizer, and a liability. I'm an amateur hobbyist, the voice of God speaking through a bop it, and the voice of Satan blaring through your AirPod Maxes. And what else would I use these talents of mine granted by a benevolent universe to report on than celebrity culture? This is just brand reporting. Celebrities aren't even real people. I'm not even a real person. I'm made up of sertraline, melatonin, and loose pages of the Amy Poehler biography I read in 7th grade. I was walking through a Bed Bath & Beyond like a month ago, and an employee recognized me from my YouTube. They were actively in the process of making a tier list of all of the Yankee candles in the store, and the bottom tier was called dog water. Do you think that's the fan of a person who exists? I'm an illusory wall, baby. You could pass your hand through me like a 747 passing through a cloud. To call me viscous would be disingenuous. Luckily, though, I don't have to be real today because I'm discussing people who are essentially made of cellophane, just like me. Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox. Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you subscribe right now, I will finally be able to move out of the CIA offices and into my own condominium. Unfortunately for now, I will have to keep spewing propaganda though. Sorry, but I can offer you a complimentary MK Ultra's underrated coffee snug. How are you guys doing today? Frankly, I'm a little surprised that I'm doing another video on a celebrity relationship. I thought the Elon Grimes video would be the only one. However, the other day I called my friend Riley to verbally belittle him about a joke that he made, and he mentioned doing a video on MGK and Megan Fox, and my organs did a little shift in my body, which I think is a good thing. I think every once in a while I should allow myself to read like 10 articles of dubious reputability from websites that look like they are sick in a very human way, and then just kind of talk shit about drama. I think I'm allowed to do that. I'm kind of just gay Keemstar without a G Fuel sponsorship. It is very human to gravitate towards gossip, and that's why these huge drama channels are so successful and popular. You know, like reality TV shows standing outside of a fight and yelling, "Take his health insurance card, I want it." Okay, that one is just me. I mean, sue me. I need that Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, right? What if I want my appendix back in? Or, like, the pieces of it, you know. To clarify some of my thoughts before we get into the video, I think deep analysis of relationships between famous people is pretty fruitless. We can't get much out of it. The closest I ever got to changing my strategy romantically was when I saw Tom Holland was dating Zendaya, and I was like, so if you're a white boy who's built like a Lego figure, you can do anything. But then I realized I can get built like a Lego figure, but I can't white boy. Cruel world, but I'm actually quite comfortable in my own skin. So, no big deal. If you're somebody who clicked on this video really invested in learning every detail of the relationship between Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox, I would encourage you to close the video and go take a walk through nature. Maybe through an old growth pine forest, maybe reconnect with some woodland animals and rekindle your relationship with the natural world. Lay your hand on some damp moss. Maybe even contact a naturopath and see if they would be willing to try to get essential oils to get you to spend more time in a tangible reality. If you're somebody who clicked on this video to see me riff on two random rich people for being weirdos for like 20 minutes to a half an hour, welcome to the show. Grab a handful of loose corn nuts and a note from a psychiatrist and let's get into this shit. Okay, I think for my own personal health, I need to get all of my Machine Gun Kelly appearance-related insults out of the way at the beginning so that they don't progressively physically weigh me down throughout the video. I'm not a Sherpa for MGK baggage. Some people say that it's a low blow to go for looks, and I agree. You're correct. It's a low blow. I'm a low blower. I blow low. Also, this man's name is Colton, and he could pull any supermodel he wants, so I feel as though it's fair to try to bring him down a peg from the apex predator status he's achieved emphasis on Predator. What does this man look like? Well, he does look like a regional director for Hot Topic who fills in for managers when they have to go back to rehab. He does look similar to someone who would win a BuzzFeed poll titled, "Which celebrity pushing 30 looks the most like a Lyft driver who's about to try to kill you?" I think if you develop a disposable film photo from a high school party, the wisps of MGK will be in the background like a poltergeist in a horror film, just posted like Slenderman, Blair Witching it in the corner. He looks like the most predatory ensemble member in a music video that takes place on a beach. Does that track? To me, whenever I look at a photo of him, it looks like he's always poured a few ounces of water into his gullet, and he's bracing his jaws to not let the water come toppling out like he was a bird bath. This is Porter Robinson if he drank a monster that just turned you evil. The AI-generated result of the term skeleton plus Ross Lynch. He looks like a line cook who's perpetually going through a divorce, or at least a tumultuous separation. He's the kind of guy that gets called the F-slur on Xbox Live and shatters his 32-inch Dell monitor with his bare hands. Scandinavian Unabomber. He looks like he runs an unofficial Barstool Sports Facebook account that keeps getting cease and desist from the actual Barstool Sports. Seems like the kind of guy who was really big into celibacy pledges all the way through middle school, but then he found out you can get laid for having a fender and never looked back. If you spray a full can of Raid on a Playboy magazine and leave it in a DIY studio for 6 hours on a harvest moon, you could probably summon him with it. If he were strictly doing Hollywood, I feel like he would just get typecast as a serial killer constantly. I can imagine a season of American Horror Story just titled AHS MGK, which sounds like a trade union acronym, but I digress. He seems like he's a cashier at PacSun who would find a reason to shake your mother's hand while you're checking out with a pair of nylon cargo shorts. I'm getting the bangs all the way out of here. Like, who cares? Or a guy who works at GameStop and you ask him where you can find the new Batman Arkham game, and he tells you he doesn't know anything because he only works there so that he can get an employee discount on the Call of Duty Ghost Devastation DLC, so he can buy a bunch of them and resell them, and because of this he calls himself a self-starter and a small business owner. I'm 18 insults through, but I told myself I would write 20 of these. So come on, Rosie, rally. He seems like the kind of kid at a Catholic middle school who would get in trouble for trying to sell caffeine pills to the golf team. I am running on fumes here. He looks strikingly like an auto-generated Kinect avatar. Like an Xbox avatar. I'm out. I'm done. I don't have Look, that may have seemed overly harsh to go 20 insults back-to-back, solely disparaging the physical appearance of animated Jack Frost mocap artist Machine Gun Kelly, but I promise you it was worth it because MGK is the 9/11 of music. I'll tell you what, 9/11 has lost its punch for me because I wrote that line and I thought, tickets to my downfall has to be worse than 9/11 on a case-by-case basis, which is an insane thing to think, and not true. I mean, Machine Gun Kelly didn't kill Pete Davidson's father, but I've just mythologized what 9/11 is because I was born before it happened, which is very Gemini moon of me. So maybe the birth of MGK was 9/11 and tickets to my downfall was the Patriot Act. Does that make sense? Yes, Machine Gun Kelly, real name Colson Baker, which does sound like the name of a Marie Callender's subsidiary, is an American rapper, musician, and weirdo who has spent the last 15 years carrying out domestic terror attacks on the Billboard Top 40. I wanted to build a concept in my head of who MGK was before recently because, as you may know, MGK in the last few years has done a complete 180 from his rap career and now basically exclusively makes middling pop punk with instrumentals that sound like when you drop the Guitar Hero controller and they start jamming a screwdriver into the arc because you're fucking up notes. So I went back to his debut album, Lace Up, and I tried to give some of the tracks a chance, which was a complete overstep on my own boundaries, and I really should try to respect my time a little bit more. I'm like looking at the track list. I don't know how we got Waka Flocka, DMX, and Tech 9 on here. Actually, cut that last one. I know how we got Tech 9 on here. Tech 9 will do a song with anybody who has a pulse. If we're not careful, 9 is going to release a track with Willem Dafoe and the Hot Cheetos and Taki Kids. There is no quality control for the artists who enter Tech 9's studio. I'm pretty sure half of the features on his albums are just auctioneers. Anyways, I listened to none of these songs on the album in full. They were all pretty generic from what I could hear. Baker did little to bring them to life, and I am deeply remorseful that I ever pressed play in the first place. To put it bluntly, MGK owes me royalties for listening to these songs. But despite the quality and contents of MGK's earlier music, at least, he enjoys over 18 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and I reckon we round up all those people and give them their own nation state because I'm not sharing suffrage with them. I just got a text from my girlfriend, and she got yesterday's Wordle in too. So it was luck. It was luck. That's just a lucky play. So back to the video. Yeah, give them a nation state. They can have a big field of hay to roam around in, a mall that's just an Auntie Anne's attached to a Claire's, and a Caucasian skee ball parlor. See if I care. Right? At least just let me be one border away from it. There are many a theory as to why MGK switched platforms entirely from rap to pop punk, probably the most reasonable one being that he saw Jack Harlow and he realized this town wasn't gentrifier friendly enough for the both of them. But a very popular one is that his genre switch was a result of his beef with Eminem, where they fired diss tracks at each other. But why did they beef? It can't be that weird, right? Okay, I'm about to get into why I actually dislike MGK now, and it's lots to do with him being really creepy to minors, so if that is something you don't want to hear about, skip to here. No judgment, we're here to laugh and riff and have fun, so I will not be making as many jokes during this segment. So if you're uncomfortable with that stuff, just skip. Also, I am not accusing MGK of carrying out any actions that are illegal. We are extrapolating from things he has said to inform our perspective. That is all. For all I know, MGK is a corn-husking, fun-loving single dad from the Midwest who loves guzzling gas from the can and playing horseshoes on active military bases. He's America's sweetheart, and his birthstone is Reaganite. Okay, according to Wikipedia, which is the name of an elusive dryad that I see during night terrors, MGK and Eminem beefed because Eminem dissed MGK on a track called Not Alike in 2018, and Eminem dissed him because MGK dissed him in another track and in some freestyles. And MGK dissed Eminem because Eminem banned MGK from his radio station. And Eminem banned MGK from his radio station because when MGK was 22, he tweeted this about Eminem's daughter who was 16. You can read that. I'm not going to say that out loud because it doesn't feel like an acceptable thing to say with my mouth. It's wild that he would say this because there's also been so much documentation of Machine Gun Kelly riding Eminem's nuts like a bucking bronco for years on years, really just thriving on the nuts and shaft. And then as soon as Eminem took measures to prevent someone who was doing not appropriate things from being on his radio show, MGK started insulting him and released an entire diss track. The comment in the tweet itself proves to me that MGK is, or at least was, creepy. That pattern of behavior proves to me that MGK is spineless and pathetic. So yeah, MGK threw a hissy fit because Eminem was understandably angry that he said something very public and very predatory towards his daughter who was a minor at the time. This is very relatable to me. Oh, bad start to that sentence. Hold on, stay with me. Because I keep on beating on wasps' nests with my bare hands whenever I see them, like they're Play-Doh and I'm 4. And they keep on stinging me. This seems completely unavoidable, and I'm very frustrated that the wasps respond this way. If only there were a way to prevent this. Now, I know what you're thinking. This guy is creepy? The guy that I definitely saw bring Coors Lights to at least 6 local kickbacks during high school is creepy? It defies expectation. I know. Side note, I'm not trying to insinuate you can tell who is or isn't predatory through appearance. That is a non-starter and completely impossible. Predators, abusers, and creeps come in all shapes and sizes, and we should pay attention to behavior rather than try to make prescriptive claims based off of, like, vague associations we have that are downstream of popular media portrayals. Speaking of paying attention to behavior, did you know that MGK is not a stranger to saying weird things like this, and it only gets worse? Now, to be fair, the examples I'm about to bring up are almost a decade old, so MGK might hit on them at a bat mitzvah. Sorry, not an acceptable joke. If you acknowledge that it's not acceptable, it actually makes it okay. That's in the comedy Bible. So these are old examples, but I'm going to explain why I'm still uncomfortable with them, so just strap in. Honestly, let's bring out the big guns first. Look at this tweet. Really let it swim around the Mind Palace's koi pond. Okay, now let's reconvene. Hey, sorry I made you read that. What the fuck, right? Completely unacceptable thing to say, super, super weird and ostensibly predatory. You might say, well, this was a different time. Yeah, it was 2010, not 1650. MGK was not the lord of a feudal estate. I'm going to strap on my good faith glasses for a second and say maybe, just maybe, we could be being unfair to Dr. Baker here. Maybe what he was trying to imply was that beauty standards, at least Western ones, are constantly trying to glorify and sexualize characteristics of youth, especially that of the late teens and early 20s. And because of this, older women feel the need to make themselves look younger, and younger women feel the need to make themselves look older, and he's noticing this trend, and seeing it happen in younger women makes him feel uncomfortable. But that's not what he said. He said that 13-year-olds are hot. And that's really fucking weird. Good faith glasses have been thrown to the ground. They're a fractured mess. Even the hinges are broken. If Warby Parker sponsors me, maybe I'll get a new pair. It's insane also that he opted personally to put the younger ages in there. Like, he set the age range himself with slashes. This was a calculated age range. He was compiling statistics here. He was about to calculate the normal distribution of his charges. Okay, yeah, so this is a really bad tweet. But, you know, he was 19. Nope. Actually, no. Oh, you thought I was about to offer him a he was young? No, I was 19 a year ago, and I knew very well not to say that, actually. Jesus Christ. At least let me just say that when you have full articles written on your sexualization of underage girls, you are doing things very wrong. I guess this is why I support the MILF movement, you know, sexualize overaged girls, at least. Jesus Christ. All right, 4 years after that was when he was 23, and he said some stuff about Kendall Jenner, who was 17 at the time, and this stuff is arguably worse, I think, because this shows his hand a lot more. He's bleeding, if you will. We are playing Go Fish, and he's bleeding. This gets pretty bad, so if you want to skip just this section, here's another timestamp. I'll give you like 5 seconds to do it because this is genuinely really creepy and a bit heavy. Okay, I'm going to read the quote directly from this article, which is in the sources. Basically, he was asked about his first celebrity crush, and he responded with this. I don't care who my first celebrity crush was because right now it's Kendall Jenner. Goddamn, I've said that so many motherfucking times. I hope that I'm snagging that. I'm 23. I'm not like a creepy age. I'm 23, she's 17, and she's a celebrity. There is no limits right there. Actually, as this article points out, there's actually a great limit, and it's called The Law. Rugged individualist libertarian MGK, truly an anti-status quo figure. I know that all sounded really bad, but just wait for what he says next, because the interviewer asks if he's counting down the days till she's 18. Really weird thing to ask, as the article also points out. And he says, I'm not waiting till she's 18, I'll go now. Okay. I don't care. Say what you want, man. If Kendall Jenner is in your bedroom naked and you're 50, you're going. Now listen, I know that sounds bad, but actually he makes it worse. Robert Plant, who was one of the greatest lead singers ever, dated a girl that was 14. Axl Rose, who was one of the biggest badasses ever, dated a girl that was 16. So this and that 50-year-old things are some of the cruxes as to why I think Machine Gun Kelly is really creepy. He's not just saying, I find this underage person attractive, which at face value is something he should keep to himself and not say out loud. He's saying that regardless of law, he would pursue them. He's saying that whether he was only 23 or if he was 50, he would pursue them. That is something of note. Because he says that 23 isn't a creepy age and then goes on to introduce a creepy age and saying that his behavior would not change. That initial comment about 23 not being a creepy age was completely hollow. It fell through as soon as he made the massive leap to 50. Finally, he presents two even more disgusting age gaps and scenarios, and essentially says that if you're reputable or you have stake in the music industry, your horrible actions, your predatory behavior, and your abuse of power are justified. I shouldn't have to say this, but Axl Rose dating a 16-year-old was not okay because he was Axl Rose. It was just not okay. You should not be dating children as an adult. Additionally, I did some Googling and found that Axl did not date a 16-year-old. He is accused of assaulting a 15-year-old. When MGK was a fully grown adult with a platform 3 years older than I am now, he was just constantly parroting points about how assault and dating minors was okay. This is absolutely fucking unacceptable. To believe this at any point in your life is disgusting, much less at his big age. And that's what really bugs me about MGK's comments. They were not isolated incidents. They were not without context. He continuously tells on himself in every single one of these cases. Whether it's admitting that he knows it's disrespectful and weird to say that about Eminem's daughter in the tweet itself, whether it's extending the age range in the other tweet, whether it's addressing multiple times in the interview that the age range is a potential problem that could be perceived as creepy, that he will ignore because he believes he has the reputation and ability to do so. He was constantly admitting to us that he wanted to abuse his power and that he thought it was within his right to do so. Whether or not this indicates anything about his actual actions or behavior, I don't know. Once more, I'm making no claims about what he has done or anything that could be brought against him. I'm just trying to paint a picture of why I don't trust him and why I think he could potentially even not be safe as a public figure. Okay, release the tension in your shoulders. We are past the worst part. Sorry about that. Those are genuinely disgusting comments, so I'm going to Febreze my computer history of whatever. Fuck this guy. He dresses like a Halloween decoration. Hey guys, sorry for taking a break from the video. It's Retcon Ramden here with some new information. So a lot of times during this video I say, Machine Gun Kelly has said these things, but we haven't seen any warranted action, so I can't accuse him of anything. However, so it's only listed in a few articles, and it's sort of like obscure, like listed in the background of a TikTok that I thought really wouldn't be like very reputable. But there is this old, from 2014, interview with Machine Gun Kelly on a really like raunchy, misogynistic, radio talk show. There are a lot of those that exist, but this one is especially misogynistic and gross, where he admits to taking Kendall and Kylie Jenner and buying them drinks and dinner. This was in 2014 though, so when Machine Gun Kelly was either like 23, 24, and Kendall and Kylie were 18 and 16. This is really damning. This is really damning, and it's a really gross video. It's going to be in the sources. You can go and watch it if you need to. He literally admits to it. I'm not sure if he means alcoholic drinks. If he does, then he's admitting to, supplying minors that he intended to have relations with alcohol, which is incredibly disgusting. Additionally, he says that he did not end up having relations with either of them, but he would have if he could have, with Kendall at least. And then he also calls Kylie, who was, I believe, 16 or 17 at the time, gorgeous if you're into like voluptuous lips, something along those lines. Which, again, super disgusting. So, yeah, this interview is not really referenced as much as the one where he just talks about, all of that other creepy stuff. But this one, in my opinion, is just as damning, which it shows that he took those gross things that he was saying and he tried to put them into action. I mean, good Lord, do with that information what you will. Let it inform your perception of him, please. And then, additionally, if there are other moments in this video where I say, like, we can't measurably prove that he did anything, that's because I had not seen this interview yet, specifically. The second thing I need to retcon here is that Eminem claims that their rap feud was not as a result of MGK's tweet about Haley. Eminem has dissed Machine Gun Kelly for those comments towards Haley before, his daughter, but he says that it was not directly as a result of that the diss tracks came about. He actually says something very scathing. He says, the reason I dissed him is actually a lot more petty than that. The reason I dissed him is because he got on first. He said, I'm the greatest rapper alive since my favorite rapper banned me from Shade 45, or whatever he said, right? Like, I'm trying to hinder his career. I don't give a fuck about your career. You actually think I fucking think about you? You know how many fucking rappers that are better than you? You're not even in the fucking conversation. So, you can tell from the lyrics and what was passed around that clearly there is an element of it that Eminem thinks that it's scummy that MGK said these things about his daughter, which I think is true. That's the information that I needed to retcon. You might see it later or in this video at some point that, like, I reference this information. Just keep it in mind that this is stuff that I learned after I had written and recorded the video. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Jesus Christ, fuck this guy. So I'm not going to front load insults about Megan Fox here because she has a lot less dirt. What I will say is that the best insult for Megan Fox is that she is dating Machine Gun Kelly. Megan Fox is known for acting and modeling and for being so attractive that people got angry at her, which is raw as fuck. She is the source of many a gay awakening and statistically at least a few straight awakenings. Who's to say? Really, she was just a pop culture staple in the 2000s and 2010s, starred in the Transformers movie, Jennifer's Body, live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was the logical endpoint for Michael Bay's filmography. Undoubtedly, her career has been filled with misogynistic harassment and undue vitriol because of the archetype she was sorted into through her career choices. She's a very conventionally attractive woman. She's a model, so she's, endured a lot of sexual harassment, sexism, just from both media and audiences, which is disgusting and unacceptable. I don't really want to talk down on Megan Fox's name all that much because it seems like her biggest character flaw is literally just dating Machine Gun Kelly, something you couldn't bribe me to do. And let me tell you, I'm pretty easily bribable. I don't have integrity or a backbone. It's just like cartilage and crossed fingers back there. Megan Fox is also bisexual, and I'm bisexual, which proves that we actually have a lot in common, and she doesn't have to be wasting her time with that guy who looks how Sail by AWOL Nation sounds. Okay, we're gonna move on from Megan, but it should be said that she was really a trailblazer for girls who look like romanceable NPCs from the Witcher games. But really, what is being a trailblazer, Is being ahead of the curve inherently good? I don't think so. I mean, think about it. There's so many examples of people being ahead of the curve that aren't inherently good. Seth MacFarlane was making NFT shows before NFTs existed. So MGK and Megan Fox as a couple popped up on a lot of people's radar when they came out as a couple. One, because 40% of Twitter users subconsciously assumed that they would just end up with Megan. And two, because nobody has ever liked Machine Gun Kelly other than fathers at barbecues who thought he was a good kid because he knew the Pledge of Allegiance all the way through. They met on the set of a film called Midnight in the Switchgrass, which is the most indie name for a film I think I have ever heard. They really could not be further removed from the popular consciousness with that title. So what really made these two prominent in the public consciousness was their GQ interview, which is frankly batshit. So we're just going to go through this line for line a little bit, and together we're going to get a handle on exactly how insufferable this relationship is to perceive, and also some aspects of it that just kind of feel weird. So the interview starts off with describing MGK and Fox giving each other tattoos that say, "The darkest fairy tale," which is very AMC original tagline core. MGK also has an anarchy tattoo because you can tell this guy really loves anarchism, really loves raging against the machines, and probably laws specifically. Which laws? Well, the age now, from the interview and footage of these two, I'm going to be real. They are clearly very much in love, into each other, but that doesn't mean that I can't be annoyed by love. Let me be clear, at this point, I hate MGK on principle. I don't think you can say that many creepy things and go on to be a casual pop-punk prince, at least for me. Anyways, here's from the article, the couple's words on when they first met. "I don't remember your face, and I definitely would have remembered his face," Megan said. "I just remember this tall, blonde, ghostly creature, and I looked up and I was like, 'You smell like weed.' He looked down at me and he was like, 'I am weed.' Then I swear to God, he disappeared like a ninja in a smoke bomb." So much is happening here. First of all, the description of MGK as a tall, blonde, ghostly creature seemingly was pulled from an earlier draft of this script by a clever time traveler. The fact that she says that he disappeared like a ninja in a smoke bomb is unbelievably funny. I cannot imagine what that could mean practically. And then the classic "you smell like weed" to "I am weed" pipeline. Just a generally horribly corny thing for someone to say, and also just completely nonsensical. Really, the amount of red flags that just run back to back to back in that paragraph, it's like Soviet Union bunting. They say they never saw each other's faces that night because their spirit guides didn't want it to be so. Jesus Christ, I've just never seen a couple mythologize their own relationship to this extent. They make it sound like an E.L. James novel. They started courting in the green room. She was like, "How are you feeling?" he recalls. And I said, "I'm lost." She said, "Well, let's find you." This was the first real conversation we had. I am 90 to 100% sure that they crowdsourced writing for their own relationship from a Wattpad authors union. Everything that comes out of their mouth is from an Instagram quotes account called like couples.djf.real.midwest_raw_as fuck. Then apparently after that, he texted her, "I am weed again." Like that line was so good he had to double down. Yeah, this is your really big literary break, man. Put it on a bumper sticker. Even our first kiss, she wouldn't kiss me. We just put our lips right in front of each other and breathed each other's breaths, and then she just left. I am living, breathing, and photosynthesizing hate right now. It is all I feel. I cannot actually speak to the level of genuine emotion or intent here, but it feels so contrived and hollow. At least from like what they're saying. It is an 8th grade Bring Me the Horizon fans notebook margins level of speech. I think in this photo from the article, they both look like cadavers. That's just an observation. Later in the interview, they mention a top secret film project that they're working on together. I can speak for myself and say that I will be watching this as soon as this releases and releasing a comprehensive review of whatever the fuck it ends up being. The latter half of the article is generally much tamer compared to the first half, focusing on the upbringing of both of them, their struggles, MGK's mental health, Megan's mistreatment in popular media. But in the end, all I can think after reading this article is like, how are these two real human people, and why do they have so much money that it is now our problem? Back in the day, these would have just been French aristocrats, and their problems would have stayed within the palace walls, all right? That much I can tell you. Okay, what else here? They released a proposal video. You know how when you propose to someone, you film it from 8 different angles, like The Price is Right, and caption it with, "In July of 2020, we sat under this banyan tree. We asked for magic." What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, Ro, you seem bitter. You seem like a hater. I am. I'm bitter, and it's not fully rational. This is just bothersome. Apparently, Megan Fox was surprised by this proposal, but many people took to Twitter to question, how are you supposed to be surprised when you are taken to a remote banyan tree, and there are 3 separate iPhones all recording you from different angles, and also your boyfriend is dressed like a referee. Also, in this video, they replaced all of the actual audio with, like, general jungle ambience from Adobe stock or something, so Megan is clearly saying stuff, but you can only hear like a macaw in the faint distance, which is kind of funny. Apparently after they got engaged, they drank each other's blood, which if you think about it is insane, and I need white people to stop doing this right now. There is no reason in your life to consume human blood like out of a chalice, like you're a draconian empire. The Holy Caucasian Union has officially gone too far. Walk it back. God, what else is there? There's just so much weird stuff with this relationship. That's the thing. None of it feels overtly terrible, but it's just like really strange. Okay, what I will say here is that the engagement ring that has thorns on the inside that make it physically painful to take off because love is pain is perhaps actually a perverse interpretation of love and connection. And that is the only thing in the relationship other than MGK's comments that like gives me pause. It is very much strange to give your partner a piece of jewelry tying you to them that will hurt them to remove. I don't know if this is indicative of anything in their relationship, but it feels awfully like almost like putting a flag in the ground or something. It's not normal, and it's definitely purposefully edgy and subversive to like gain media attention to give them a very specific perception to the public. But nonetheless, I don't like this as a token of love or appreciation. I think it's a distortion of what like human connection represents, at least to me. A ring that causes you pain because love is pain. Love is actually quite nice. It's soothing. The lozenge of emotions, if you will. Perhaps what you're trying to get at is loving Machine Gun Kelly is painful. That I can understand. What I'll say is that the video component of this interview is very, very different from the text. Both of them clearly know a lot about each other and appreciate each other. They have a decent sense of humor, and yeah, they're a bit annoying and it's a bit much, but it's like tolerable. So I guess in the end, from looking into their relationship, there's clearly a bit of weirdness going on. There's a bit of mythologizing, and there's a massive amount of very public, very overwhelming attraction that the both of them play up in like a way that's almost like tooth-achingly sweet. I guess Megan is fine as a person, but I'm not getting over that weirdo stuff that MGK said, especially considering he doubled down on being mad at Eminem for blacklisting him for being weird to his teenage daughter as recently as 2018. I think that's immature and deeply disconcerting that you would back yourself up on that point, even though apparently he apologized to Eminem in private to not take no for an answer. It's like, you said some creepy shit. Own up to it. Yeah, I don't like this guy, or at least the persona that he portrays publicly. Like, from what I can tell, his music, as popular as it is, has ducked most critical acclaim and is seen as derivative or like downright bad by some people. Like his recent song, Emo Girl with Willow Smith, has just been blowing up on TikTok for being like god-awful. Features these like sickening and tiresome tropes about girls with like black hair and fishnets and lipstick who are just so hot. And when you're pushing 30 like MGK with a history of weird comments to young girls, like, I just don't like hearing you talk about like wanting the cool rebellious girl. It feels like oriented in some way to like youth and youngness and rebellion. I don't care that Megan is older than you. It just leaves a weird taste in my mouth. Not to mention that the concept of this song is just so shallow and patronizing and is clearly just another in a long series of pop culture 2000s nostalgic cash grabs. Nothing MGK has done really has impressed me, and certainly none of it redeems his image in my eyes, but in the end, I'm not really bullying him or being an asshole, I don't think, for having this opinion. I'm taking him at face value, and he is a multimillionaire with an album that went #1 in 2020. His relevance, his image, his money will probably outlast me and outlive me in any relevance that I have. This is just me making one small attempt to get in my minor distaste for a massive star, and I think that's okay. Anyways, I think that they're probably going to be the first couple with a wedding invitation that's just a screenshot of a Tinder profile that says, "We'll fuck your life up, we're crazy." So when everything falls into place, and I can comfortably say that there isn't anything terribly out of the ordinary about this couple, other than the guy is really creepy and they are kind of annoying, what does that say about the necessity of commentary on them at all? Is this a useful video to make, a productive one, or even an enjoyable one? When it comes down to it, the only reason we are predisposed to caring about MGK and Megan Fox is because they are ridiculously, unimaginably rich and famous, and the weird things they are doing are not the usual weird things rich people do. We expect rich people to spend copious amounts of money on cars, clothing, houses, but we don't expect them to take a faux gothic presentation and talk about how on their first date they breathed each other in front of thousands of roses. It's an unsettling and off-putting thing to hear, maybe because it proves that they are living in a reality thousands of miles away from ours. They don't have to worry about expenses or the future or their past. If shit hits the fan, they're set for life regardless. Perhaps a degree of the immense cultural dislike for this couple isn't just that they're weird or annoying, but that they're out of touch and pretentious, that their love for each other is an unwanted presence in our minds that exists there only because they have the notoriety to make it so. How different is this from other celebrity couples, though? If we think critically, there are dozens and dozens of famous actors and musicians with a worse rap sheet than MGK, double entendre, who have faced little scrutiny in relationships, but he's #1. Hell, it's a passive joke that Leonardo DiCaprio refuses to date anybody who isn't in their early 20s, even when he's 47, but we don't often see actual criticism, actual consequences for that. Maybe we're just angry and frustrated with the strange immaturity and volatility of Kelly as a star, ranging from his abrasive personality to his public conflicts with figures like Corey Taylor of Slipknot when he tried to criticize them for wearing comfortable shoes and their signature masks. It all feels pedantic and disingenuous and strange. Honestly, I don't care too much to understand these relationships because I will never, ever get the full picture. I am fundamentally incapable of doing so. In fact, I'm sick of pretending like I have the opportunity to get even a half of the story. Celebrity relationships are commodities passed between social media posts, news outlets, and gossip columnists to generate revenue, buzz, attention, and anger. When I make a video like this, I feed directly into that cycle. Not inactively, too. I am complicit in that cycle. The cycle of vapid, banal stories about rich people who are not noteworthy becoming front-page news. That's something I'm ashamed of and disappointed in. I'm sick to my stomach thinking about writing another line of this script. In fact, I started this script 2 months ago, and the idea of researching Machine Gun Kelly made me so enthused and nauseous that I didn't finish writing it until today. Somebody might comment, "The fact that you made this video proves you're a fan," or "The fact that you made this video proves you care," and while I reject the former, I can see how this proves that I care. Maybe not that I care, but that I have a stake in caring, that caring might be financially and socially beneficial to me. I may look at a situation like this and be able to garner clout, views, and generate discourse without truly lifting a finger. I can criticize the lives and actions of others without disclosing the intricacies of mine. The thing is, I've already said this in my video about Grimes and Elon. I no longer feel the need to showcase vulnerability as a shield for my actions of speaking on these people. I also don't feel the need to defend it as somehow stoic or valiant. Is it somehow justice for me to bring up the decade-old words and actions of a creepy 31-year-old man that are already immensely publicized? Will there be someone in the comments saying, "Thank you so much for talking about this aspect of the relationship. People don't touch on it," because they do. But people shouldn't be touching on any aspect of this relationship. It should be withering away into irrelevancy. This culture is an obsession that I am unable to quit. It is a disease that is destroying my appreciation for the real world and the things that actually connect people. It makes me bitter, short-tempered, and always on the lookout for the negative. I am the problem, but knowing this also frees me of nothing. At the end of the day, I still decided to sit back, write 7,000 words on people I don't know, film, edit, export, and upload this video to 80,000 people. There were dozens of chances for me to stop, for me to think of something different, even for me to just try to elevate the craft of this individual video, and yet I didn't. For the same reason I assume tabloids, news outlets, and drama channels choose to do the same. Because it's easy and entertaining. So through that, I become the same as this media that I scorn, perhaps a more lighthearted version, a fiercely opinionated version, a left-leaning version that seeks justice, but still an offshoot of that, which I dislike. Is terrible outrage and celebrity culture like this the thing that results in bad people getting power in the first place? It feels unfair to put the blame on myself entirely for the actions of others, but shedding a light on their existence undeniably gives them attention. For the time being, I'll stick to punching at people much bigger and more relevant than me. But regardless of all this, I hope in the end the video ended up serving its purpose. I hope that your perspective of these people is a little different. I hope that you're a bit more critical of them. I hope that maybe you feel differently about them. But I hope that it was easy and entertaining. Thanks for watching. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'm really exhausted right now, so I'm going to keep this outro short. I have a friend who is in need of financial assistance. They're a single black parent who is diagnosed with cancer, and it is really not looking good for their financial security, because if they want to get cancer treatment, they're going to need to take 2 months off of work. So I'm going to put their Cash App and whatnot in the description. If you're going to subscribe to my Patreon or something after this video, you know, consider just giving that money to them instead. I think they would really appreciate that. This is a person that I know personally. This is a mutual of mine through TikTok. So, and I have faith that they are being honest in this situation about what they need, and I trust them. Yeah, other than that, I think this video is just, it's a weird one to return with. I understand. That last video that I released, I filmed that, you know, months ago. But now I'm back with this video. This is my first real video back, and I want to make more of these, but I'm just trying to get my footing again, because it's kind of weird. I try to write some funny jokes into this one. I know a lot of it was like me being very honest about how I felt about these people and about celebrity relationships, because I think that's essential to talking about something like this, for me at least at this point in my YouTube career. I don't want you guys to think that I'm just mindlessly observing these people. And I also think that, you know, Machine Gun Kelly is weird, is a real weirdo, and that needed some serious talk, because he's not facing any consequences for it. He's a massive star, so I you know, whatever I can do to let people know that that's a factor. Yeah, but thank you guys so much for your ongoing support of my channel, of me, of everything. If you've made it this far, support me more. Yeah, go follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Cash App me $600 if you're a real fan, that is. Sorry, no, if you've made it this far, take care of yourself. Take care of others, be kind to yourself, and be kind to others. What's my fucking outro? And remember that you are loved, right? Yeah, remember that you are loved by someone out there. Not necessarily me, I don't know you, but you are loved. Or you will be loved. Yeah, until next time, it has been a pleasure. Bye.